I am so passionate about the Irish Times. It is an extremely important media title in Ireland.
We were one of the first Irish papers, and one of the first in the world actually, to go online in 1994.
The formats have changed and how people are consuming our content, so from digital formats, from audio and otherwise, but it's quality, trusted, reliable content is what our product is, and it's that sense of being a unique voice from Ireland. We launched a digital subscription model in 2015, so we're 8 years into it now, and we've had, consistent growth along the way, but really we needed to make a step change and really accelerate our digital subscription growth into the future. We had heard about the previous year about the GNI Subs Academy programme. We said, we have to do this. This is really critical. And we were aware that we had, a strong proportion of readership from outside of Ireland, but I guess when it was benchmarked against others in the industry, we were surprised, and pleasantly surprised, I guess, that we had a higher proportion of international readers. So we wanted to hone in on that, and we wanted to look at how we could grow our international readership and our international subscriber base. So how can we convert those readers to subscribers? The FT Strategies team taught us experiment methodology, which was really a new way of working for us. It was that sense of being very clear and rigorous in terms of what you're experimenting with and what you're comparing against. So what we did was we commissioned a series of content aimed at Irish readers in London. We promoted that content targeted to an audience in London using social media in particular. We also used control content, so content that wasn't specifically written for an Irish and London audience. That's where we saw the content that had been specifically commissioned was more read by that audience in London, so higher traffic was more likely to bring people onto our site. And when that audience was on the site, they spent longer, so their engagement time was longer on the site. And then what we saw was an increase in our visitorship from the UK over that number of weeks.
From this experiment, we had a really good understanding of the extent to which it triggered existing subscribers in London to log in and maybe use their subscription more. And it just gave us a really good picture of a small segment of our audience, but one that potentially could be very valuable to us in the future.
The next step, I suppose the natural step is, can we do this in New York? Can we do it in Boston? Where can we take it next that we know that there is a strong connectedness with Ireland?
What emerged from our work with FT Strategies is we've arrived at a way of working which basically bridges that editorial commercial divide, and it's now permanently bridged, and we've got cross-functional teams that work constantly on a succession of projects, not one-offs, in terms of understanding sort of the individual pressures and challenges from other colleagues.
We know what the task is, we know what the end goal is, and you can break it down into the bite-sized chunks of, well, this experiment will deliver X, and somebody else is doing that other experiment. So there is that sense of, well, we're all in it together, but the North Star is up there, but there are lots of people and everybody is heading north.
We really enjoyed it, and it became more sort of a mentor type relationship rather than maybe consultants.
They brought us to a new level that we wouldn't have gotten to ourselves, and I was incredibly impressed with how expert they were on knowing our business and getting up to speed on it really quickly and understanding it. They had an independent voice, but they were really keen observers of how we were working together. We want everybody to have the opportunity to go through the processes and get the learning opportunities that we had from the FT Strategies and Google News initiative.
It's been a fantastic experience. It's been 8 months of, I would say, real positivity around the group and that cross-functional team that was involved. We were doing 2-hour strategic meetings with the FT Strategies team. You close the door in that 2 hours and you're in a different space. Everyone is very busy with the day-to-day, as is the case everywhere, but this felt like a real change from that. It was very strategic, it was very energizing, it was very engaging, and it really felt empowering for us, and we were really learning. It has built relationships among the team, among departments that are really strong. We're all coming together for the common goal, which is to increase our digital subscriptions. We're selling our content and the work of our journalists.
We don't have a big investor or owner or somebody that is a kind of a fallback for us commercially. So we have to make our journalism sustainable. And this process has kind of given us a confidence that if we do things the right way, we can create a sort of a digital subscriber audience that will give us that sustainability.